Hey RC World, welcome back to Adult RC. This is your host, Angry Dave. Get the kids away from their computer, grab yourself an adult beverage, and let's turn some wrenches. Here we got the new Mini Q from Rage RC. Been hearing a few good things about this, and I needed a little companion for my Mini Z, so I had something to race against when I got friends over. So I went ahead and picked this up. It's an assemble yourself kit, but it pretty much is an RTR as well. Comes with the radio and everything you need. So let's get into the box here and see what's going on. Alright, so we got some bags of parts, directions, controller. Ooh. Install your own wheel. That's a new one. Imagine that's not too difficult. 2.4 gigahertz. Very simple, like most RTR shit, especially the little stuff. Pre-painted body. This is 1/24 scale. It is a little bit bigger than the Mini Z, not by much. It's a little wider, probably around the same length. Not exactly a great looking body. I'm not a big fan of imports unless you're talking about Ferraris and Lamborghinis. And this has a very, I want to say, Nissan feel to it. Well, there are a couple of Nissans that I don't hate the way they look. This is not one of them. So, not loving on the style, but didn't buy it for the style. So, moving on. We got some more shit. Oh, we got parts bags, parts bags, parts bags. Lots of little bags of shit. Look at all this. Alright, let's get this shit spread out and make some sense out of it. Yeah, so there we go. We got all this shit organized. A little bit less of a mess. And looks like it should be reasonably easy to assemble. Some of the stuff is already pre-assembled. Like the wheels are already on the hubs and stuff like that. So that's not too bad. We got 4 wheels like we should have. We got some gears and bearings. We got a drive shaft. I'm guessing it's 4-wheel drive. A bag of screws. We got a servo. We got a motor. We got a little spacer of some kind. Speed control. Probably speed control receiver combo, I'm guessing. Charger, LiPo battery. I ordered a separate battery. A little 3.7 volt. Whoa, come on, focus. There we go. A little 400 milliamp LiPo. And, alright, so let's go ahead and crack into the directions and see what number 1 says to do. Looks like first thing we're going to do is go ahead and assemble the drive and the wheels. So, we'll go ahead and grab a screwdriver. Oh, yeah, it came with a little baby screwdriver. I'm sure that's a super high quality tool that's going to fit in the screws. Excellent. Alright, so I got the first page worth of instructions taken care of here, and lo and behold, we are missing a spring. Yay, I'm sure it's going to be super fucking fun trying to get a replacement spring out of the manufacturer. I'm just going to go ahead and keep assembling here. I'll see if I can find something in my parts shit that'll work in the meantime, and fire off an email and see if I can get that spring replaced. Alright, so here's the next part of the directions. So we're going to drop in the motor, the servo, the center drive shaft, and the 2 caps that hold in the bearing assemblies and the drive gears. Seems pretty straightforward, so let's go ahead and drop them in there, see how everything fits, and see if there's any more missing parts. Looks like this pen is going to give up its spring so that I can put my car together. Alright, so we got everything in here. Looks like the pen spring is going to work for now. Doesn't look exactly the same, but it does support it. There's not a ton of movement in that suspension, but I ought to keep it from sagging and dragging. So the next thing we're going to do is take this plate right here, and that goes down over the top and kind of holds everything in place. And then the electronics board screws onto that. And then that little cover goes on after you get everything plugged in, although it looks like you might have to put that cover on and then plug everything in. And then we got a front bumper here. Alright, so I got the top plate on here. One little issue we ran into, if you look right down in here. Get a little something better to point. I had to take the Dremel tool. This fucker ever focuses. Come on. And I had to run, there we go, grind a little bit of plastic away right there because that lead on the motor gets in the way. It's a pretty snug fitting little guy, but it did go on there. So next thing we're going to grab the electronics board and screw that on. Hopefully there's no issues there. Alright, so right here in the directions it says, prior to installing the electronics cover, carefully insert the electronic control board and plug in the appropriate connectors as shown. That is fucking wrong. Because if you put the plugs on first, come on focus you piece of shit. If you put the plugs on first, you can't plug in the servo. Or really you can't plug in anything because the plastic runs under all of those. So you need to feed the servo wire through the cover and then put it on and then plug everything in. I ended up having to cut a little notch out of the front of the cover here because once that servo plug is in there, good fucking luck getting it out of there without breaking it. So now that this bullshit's all on here, I think we can go ahead and throw a battery in it and see if it works. Alright, so one last thing. When you're putting the body on, I had to trim a little extra plastic out right here because the chassis is not the same on both sides. You have this stuff up here, the higher parts, that are not here on this side. So that little step in the body fits over this edge, but it runs into this edge and makes the body sit crooked. So you just take a little razor or a saw or whatever and cut that up a little higher. If you look at the other side, it's only cut to about here, and this side I got cut down there. So that little bit of extra just does the trick and makes it jump on there. So let's go ahead and get a battery in this thing. Comes with a little tiny LiPo. Alright, 4 AA's for the controller. Power that on. Ooh, pretty blue lights. And hit the switch. Oh, come on. There we go. We got noise. Hey, we got steering. And we got drive. Alright. So then the body jumps on kind of like a Mini Z in front. Slot A, tab B kind of deal. Come on, get in there. And then the back is actually a magnet, which is kind of nice. You just snap it on there. The little bitch is ready to go. Alright, so there's the Mini Q from Rage RC. overall, not a terrible build, and not a terrible little performing car. Should be decent competition for a relatively stock Mini Z. Probably be a bit of an advantage for people who are inexperienced drivers, because the all-wheel drive makes it pretty hard to spin it out. So I guess at this point, we'll just have to see how it holds up over time. There's a lot of real small plastic parts in there, so not real sure how it's going to go, but running on a foam track with foam walls at low speeds probably won't do too bad. I'll keep you updated, and hopefully by the time I do break anything, there might actually be some upgrade parts for it. It's kind of a cool little car. Would recommend going and pick one up. They're only about 60 bucks. So, go ahead and throw a like if you like this video. Share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we'll see you next time on Adult RC, where grown-up time is playtime.